real estate over there and hustle over here.
Introduced me to one of my good friends is my real estate partner. His name is Tony. And basically Tony would just sit me down and explain to me how the deals work and how to get the deals done and what kind of credit you need and all those things. So I started small, of course, and I just started to add on to that. So I started residential, and then I got to commercial, and now I'm buying multifamily.
All right, folks. Welcome back to the Uninvited House Guest Podcast. This is season 2. I'm your host, Tony Stanford, and I'm in the building with a woman after my own heart. We have a lot of stuff in common, both HBCU grads. She's a realtor. She's an investor. She's an Airbnb superhost, all those things. Miss Ivory, would you introduce yourself to people?
I like the way you just did it.
See?
Oh,
There's some stuff I'm sure I left out. What else you got?
I'm Ivory. Yeah, you did everything. You did it all. So thank you.
Okay. So, you're not from here originally, so where are you from?
I am originally, little story. So I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and then I moved to Long Island, and then Johnson C. Smith University brought me to Charlotte. Okay,
shout out to the Golden Bulls.
All right, yes. Golden Bulls, JC, SU. What's up, y'all?
That's what's up. So, was your plan always going to real estate, or what did you study at JCSU?
Okay, so communication and arts, right?
Okay.
So I took that up. And then my senior year, I was actually a on-air personality at Power 98, third shift, right? Nice. So I did that. Then I left there and just kind of, I did that like my college year, right? So I enjoyed it, right? I went in to be a part of the streets team, right? And came out as a on-air on-air radio personality. She believed in me. And I enjoyed it. Every now and then I think about going, thinking about like, oh, do I really want to do it? But it's a lot of work. Like, it's not as easy. And that, I fell into it, right? And it allowed me to just have a different perspective of Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Because when I came to Charlotte, I was just a college student, right? So just trying to figure out my way. How many times am I going to change my major? Do I really even like college now, right? Like, so, and then radio just kind of allowed me to understand and see hand-on like how much is out there, right? So I left that, kind of did, let me just find a job, right? Because there was no money in radio.
True,
right?
Very true.
There was no money, and it was overnight, and I was like $10 an hour, and it was only like 4 hours a weekend, right? So I still had to work, right? So I did a lot of other stuff, and then from retail to just call centers, right? Having a schedule, when to punch in, and point systems, right? Like, I'm not good at stuff like that. Like, I just can't do it. So then after that, I was like, all right, let me go do temp service, right? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point, right? Honestly, didn't know what it really. And then, in between that, of course, at college, I moved off campus, right? Because I was like, oh, which I shouldn't have did. I probably should have stayed and got the full campus experience, right? But I moved off campus because, I'm going into adulthood. And I went to find an apartment. So the leasing manager was there, and she was gorgeous. She was polite. We just became cool, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, you really don't do nothing. I was like, all you do is just run apartments. So we became cool. And then she told me she said, hey, check out a temp service, right? And I checked it out, got into it. BG Staffing. I love them, right? If I recommend anybody to a staffing company, it would be them. But got into it and was like, oh, I'm never going to leave this. Cheap rent, right? But it's work too.
Some perks.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, do not believe that property management is not work. As any property, like, we work. It may look easy, but it's a lot. And then I fell into it, and I just enjoyed it. I didn't have to pay. Right. And then the good thing about the temp service is that you get to go to different properties. Right. I wasn't stuck at one location, so I didn't have to follow their rules. Right. I just had to show up. On the bad side, you don't get the commission. Yeah. Right. And I'm leasing. Right. Like, I may be there for 2 weeks. I may be there for 4 days, but I'm at least going to not leave without leasing to apartments. Right. And I was like, oh, I want the money. Right. Like, this is all good, but they're getting the money. Right. So then I applied, and I got into one property management, and I ran with that until the wheels ran off, right? The property sold. So in property management, they sell a lot, right? So I went up from a leasing property manager to an assistant, I just kind of scaled up the ladder. Yeah. And I left that company because we sold, right? Now they said, hey, you have to pay $900 for an apartment I was paying $500 for, right? And that journey was like, no, right? That came to an end. So they will only renew my lease for 1 more year, right, with the same rate. Because we had just renewed it. Like me and my property manager, he knew, you know, so it was still valid for 1 year, no matter how many times you want to slice it. That lease says I get this for 1 year.
Yeah, that's true.
And we didn't have any addendums to say like, oh, if your job changed. Like there was no addendums at that point. So we did that. I knew I had to find another job, right? So I went to find another job with a smaller property management firm here in Charlotte, right? And going from a corporate background to a small mom and pop, right? Totally like different. It's completely different. And that's what changed with me for real estate, right? Like that's what it was. So I bought my home as I got ready to transfer, you know, knowing that I only had so much to go. I had to say, hey, okay, are you going to pay real prices, right? Or are you going to pay, you know, you're going to go ahead and get a house? Because you see this every single day. I didn't want to be a number, right? I never wanted to be a number. So I was like, okay, well, let's go get a house. Bought my first home in 2017, still working property management, had no clue about, you know, had no interest in real estate, had no interest. I just wanted to just survive, right? I just wanted to survive. I wanted to make it. And then as things go, you know, property management, now I moved up in this ladder. It's mom and pops. I'm touching the owners, right? I'm communicating with the owners. Like these guys get up and go to work every single day like I go to work, right? And they all have licenses, right? They're just kicking back, chilling, right? And they're older now and they just, you know, but they own these things. Like it's not a corporation. And that's what changed it, right? And my family told me all the time, go into real estate. And I didn't want to go back to school. Like college was hard, but not too hard, right? And I just, you know, everybody's not made to be in the classroom. Right. And I thought a lot more into it. And then after I was like, well, I became a regional at a mom and pop. Like it's either stay here with this mom and pop and don't grow, but grow so much, right? Or go back to corporate and follow these same rules, right? Mom and pop, I could take a whole week off and we're good, right? Like there's no, you know, like there's a system, but like my boss is in the back office, right? Like he's human, he understands. He rewards you. You do your work. You're good, I'm good, the company's good, everybody's okay. So I'm not going back to corporate, right? And there's only so much that a mom and pop shop, unless it's yours, can grow. Right. And they will have to grow. Like he's comfortable. He has his 2,500 doors, right? He owns property. His kids are good. He has his house. His family's good. He's not reaching. He's great for the stars, right? And I'm still in my 20s, right? No, let's go, let's do something. So then he sent me to school. Well, I was like, all right, you know what? There's nothing else to do. Can I go to school on the time, right? And I was able to go to school Monday through Friday, right? I went to Superior, right? I did my work. I might have got off work, got out of school, came back there, right? Study in between, and I was able to get paid to go to school. We worked out an arrangement. Hey, come back and hang your license here. At this time, I'm just going to have my license, right? And I was like, oh, I think I may open up my own property, but when you go to real estate school, those first 2 weeks change your life. Like there's just so much information. There's so much information. There's so much possibilities that you can do in real estate, right? Like just get your license, right? If you really don't know, just get your license, figure it out, and go from there. So I came back and negotiated my terms with him. He wanted me to hang my licenses with him, right? And we agreed on 5 years. And I was like, well, hey, I've been here for 3, so let me just I've been here for 2, so let me just give you 3, right? Okay. But I went back and I was like, listen, I don't need your money to pay for real estate school because I have to pay for it up front anyway, right? You would just reimburse me, right? But I don't want those terms. Like, let's just see where our relationship goes, right? I appreciate it, right? And because we're cool, we developed a great relationship, right? Like, he's really like a mentor at this point now, right? But we had that understanding, and it was like, all right, well, look, finish school, because I haven't been down this route. Everybody in here has had the opportunity. No one finished the school. So go ahead and, we'll see what happens. And I finished 3 times. Yeah, it took me. But I finished, right? So, and and then everything else is there from history, right? Like, I understood the game. I understood Monopoly. I wanted to play along. I never played that game as a child, right? Maybe I did, but I don't remember it, right? Maybe, but now I play it completely different. Like now I play to win. Before I was just like, okay, we'll take the house. right? Go, don't get in jail. We just didn't want to get in jail, right? Don't get stuck in jail, right? But now it's just like, it's completely different. And that's how I am now, an investor. That's how now I make sure that anybody tries to buy a house, like, what's your purpose, right? Like, as long as you understand your purpose and you understand, like, what do you want, then the cool thing about real estate is just, it's unlimited.
Yes.
And that is where we are with Airbnb.
That's
right?
amazing.
So that is my story.
Let me backtrack real quick. So obviously a lot of people watched the show Insecure with Issa Rae. She was a property manager, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us, did you have any Issa Rae type experiences as a property manager?
Oh yeah. So I call us property managers like therapists, right? Because like you're getting a piece of everyone's story, and it's just, and that's the craziest thing about it. Like it makes you love it even more because you never know who's going through something, right? Like they look good on the outside, but they ain't got no credit, right? Or hey, they baby daddy didn't move there, and like it's just so much. So yeah, like what do you want? My craziest story?
Your craziest story.
Which one? I don't know. Like property management. Define crazy. Like let me just think because and a manager out there is watching this gonna be like, yeah, okay, maybe I think it was, and it just may be simple, but I think that we had to end up evict. So you know what? The craziest stories is the ones that cheat the system and get away with it.
Fair enough.
Right. So like the ones that are and they don't understand again. Like, and I think my view on it is different from when I was in corporate. Right. But it's those ones that hey, I haven't paid you in 6 months. Right. I'm gonna go to court. I'm gonna waste the court's time and pay the rent bond. Right. And then continue to do this property after property. So I think like. Besides, like, we didn't see hoarders. We didn't see people come back inside. Like, like, we didn't see somebody that say, hey, I don't have any kids, but I don't know why nothing's flushed down the toilet. Toilet's no longer working. And you come over there and you got Legos coming out. Like, oh, like, you playing with Legos or is it children, right? And that has the room back there full of Legos, right? Like, but she still don't have no, or the ones that say, hey, I don't have a dog. I have a support animal.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a pit that's aggressive to the whole entire condo building. Right? I don't know. Like, I don't pick it. But continues to say when you come by, you knock on the door and there's no dog there, they're not home, but the dog is there barking. I don't know. Like, pick your story. I don't know which ones. Like, I don't know. So I think which ones touch home for me is the ones that cheat the system. Like, those are the crazy, and the fact that they know it. Okay. Right? That's my story.
I like
those are my crazy ones.
I like that one. I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, I always say the hardest people to work with people who know the rules. Because they've been every way. Like, I didn't really do that. Like they really just worked to the line. So thank you for sharing that. Going to Airbnb, I know that's obviously your Superhost. How many Airbnbs do you have?
So I have 2 Airbnbs that I currently have like under with me. Right.
Okay.
I just started picking up properties to co-host on. Okay. Because again, Airbnb is a full-time job.
It is. So, the internet is saying that Airbnb is dead. What do you think about that?
I think Airbnb has a situation at the moment. I'm not, because Airbnb is not dead actually, right? And we can get into numbers, but I do, I love this stuff. So the data of 2024 predictions are to be a little bit slightly higher, right? Like 10% new listings are going to hit the market in 2024. Right. So Airbnb's not dead. We do have our slow seasons, right? And currently right now, anywhere from November to about February, we are in a slow season. Yep. But that's going to be like any other field, just like the restaurant season right now is pretty slow, right? Now that after Christmas is over, the malls are slow. Like our jobs are getting cut back, right? FedEx is slow. So, I think we have our seasons, right? So like, how do we adjust? That's all. So we're in a situation which is just basically a slow season.
100% agree. I feel like 2023 Airbnb kind of normalized. So before it was a spike, people, oh yeah, I'm gonna rent this apartment just for the Airbnb. So it was a lot of new introductions. And last year, obviously, was changing with job markets, interest rates, things like that. So it was a normalization. So now we know what it's going to look like to figure out what the cycle was because it wasn't before. Right. So I think it was the first year it got normal. Right.
Because like in 2022, right, like for 2020 and then like 2021 and 22, it was like, oh, it's a 24%. Right. That's because Airbnb was so new. Right. And Airbnb had, I hate to say it, but had class back then. Yep. Right. Now it's just, here's a space. Right? Let me throw this up. And so like that, and so if you had to compare, a space with no interest, right? With just some, hey, it's a space, let's try it, right? To the hotel that's almost in the same price, right? And their fees are hidden. These fees over here are outright right here.
Right.
You're gonna go with the hotel all day long.
Makes sense.
So that's what happens, right? And that's how the market ended up being where we are now, where people are saying it's gonna crash because it's oversaturated with people that don't belong.
Very true.
You know, but that's like most of these fields that we
Gonna weed people out right
it's
now.
gonna weed us out in 2024
for sure. So to that, Airbnb for me has been a good way to learn what's happening in Charlotte, what type of people are moving here. A lot of people say, "Hey, I'm just coming to check out. I think I want to move here." So I meet a lot of people that way. Obviously, we have a lot of concerts, a lot of sporting events. Those are kind of what the majority of my people come for. Have you seen? You have a particular clientele that you work with, or is it sporadic, or as far as the people?
Yeah, so each unit is different, right? So I have one house that's downtown Bettysport Road, right, Charlotte. So it's a mixture, right, of the ones that's in the city to do something, right? Like that house is not set up for someone to actually like stay for 5 weeks,
Gotcha.
right? So it's more so, hey, you're in town, maybe a baby shower, maybe a wedding, not just for sports, but you need a central location. 77 is behind me, 85 north-south is right there, right? Like take your pick, right? You're in, you're out, and then if you want to enjoy the nightlife, you're not too far from it. So I have that one set up like that one, but then my other home on Independence is set up like, if you want to come for 25 days, we're open, right? We're open-minded to what you got going on here. So that one's more family-oriented, but not baby-friendly, right? So it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. So again, concerts, Bojangles. So they're still here for various reasons.
Right.
Work, concerts, or just to hang out.
Fair enough. And then in the same space, there's a lot of people who are scared to do Airbnb. They feel like people going to tear up their properties, things like that. I guess I typically say that it's based on the rules you put in place and then also the communication. And also having just rules, guidelines as far as accepting people. So for me, I put a kind of hard line in saying this. I take last minute bookings, but I have a time cutoff. Do you have any rules in place so that you can prevent your property from maybe having issues, or was that even ever a concern for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a concern. So like my first year, just called me like, I don't know, maybe like, what do you call somebody that's always spying on something? Like I was just like, when that camera ding, I was on it. It's on my phone. Like I was nervous. It's my home, right? Like that was my first one. That was my first home that I purchased, right? So it was very dear hearted to me, right? And at that time, we didn't have any real comps to determine like what was going on, and it was really still new. But so I used to be just watching the security camera. We would be at the restaurants, we would anywhere. My family, what happened? Let me look, let me see. And then if I missed it, I'm going home and I'm going to rewind it, right? Like I'm in it, right? Like then I had to just relax, right? My family and friends told me I was crazy. And then I just started relaxing, right? So I think the rules are in play. My reviews also stand strong, right? I think that, again, like I'm a call. I'm making sure that we're on a cul-de-sac. So my neighbors are aware, like they know, like it's listed in the house, it's on the thing, and I give you your space, right? Like I don't bother you. Have we had experiences? Absolutely, and I have pulled up, right? Like how you doing, right? Like what's up? This isn't what we agreed to, right? Nobody under the age of 25.
Okay.
I don't take bookings under 25. I do last minute bookings. One house is a cutoff, like maybe 8, right? The next house is probably 11. Okay. Because I'm a last minute, right? Yeah. I think about like me, like my lifestyle, like I'm gonna be a last minute booker, right? All day. But yeah. Yeah.
This was it last week, New Year's Eve weekend. Somebody tried to book my spot. It was like the day before New Year's Eve, and it was like at 10 p.m. that they tried to book. I'm like, I'm not letting you in that. What are you doing? Like, this is way too
so
late.
Did they have reviews?
I didn't even matter. It's already 10 o'clock. I wasn't prepared for them. Like, I was prepared, but I would have to go fix it. And I was like, I could do it in probably 15 minutes. But I was just like, it's too late. Like, that's too last minute for me. I need 4 hours at least. Like, just for comfort. That way I can look at the reviews. All that stuff like that. I just feel like I needed time to, like, process, I'm going to have somebody this weekend.
So, like, sense. So somebody like that, right? If it was me and it has been like that, like I'd be like, well, hey, what time do you need? Because I might need to go around by there real quick, right? Or maybe I'm in the house at this one and I'm just relaxing. So if you're like, oh, we're on our way in within 3 hours, because then that's a little. You didn't ask none of those things.
It was 10 o'clock. I was like, my office is closed. My office is closed. I don't know.
See, I'm about getting the money. How much money? How much was you missing? Because it's New. So, and shame on you because you knew it was New Year's coming up. You knew that those last minute bookings was coming in.
But see, I felt like I was gonna get it that morning. So in my head, I was gonna do him this morning. Cool, I'm gonna have time to prepare. It was just like at 10 o'clock. I was like, I didn't expect it to come, I guess. I was like, it'll be for tomorrow. Not saying, hey, I want to check in tonight. Like, that was weird. It was just like, for me, caught me off guard.
I get you. So if it happens now, right, let me just ask you this, right? Because again, there's pros and cons to that, right? Like maybe they had great reviews. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were coming in later and you still had time not to miss that money, right? Yep. Because if it didn't book that week, right, you knew for a fact, like a holiday weekend. So how would you handle it now?
I still feel bad about 10 o'clock personally, but I think like for me, like I just didn't have, the key wasn't really the only thing. The key wasn't ready. Like I purposely took the key, and I had the key because I had to change some stuff. Like I was getting ready for the new year. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna swap some stuff, things like that. So I was like, okay. So that was me. But in general, obviously you have to have systems in place so that you don't have to miss out on money if that's the case. So for me, it was just like 10 o'clock. I feel like something might be going on. Like I felt it felt 10 o'clock to me feels shady. Like last minute is like, oh, I'm coming to the city tonight. Yeah. 10 o'clock is like, it's just weird. I don't know.
You could have controlled it too.
Even as a guest, like I'm not pulling up to a house at 10 o'clock at night. I've never been there. Like it's late, it's dark. I don't know the neighborhood. That's
You're
me.
A host though.
But no, if I was the guest though, I personally wouldn't do that. Like,
but I'm a traveler, so
I typically, if I'm flying to a city and I'm gonna stay at a house though, I'm gonna be there early enough because I'm going to a house. If I'm staying in a hotel, I can come at 2 o'clock in the morning. No big deal. My first time in the house ain't 10 o'clock.
I never thought about it that way.
I don't know the neighborhood. If I go to Philly this weekend, right? I'm not pulling up in the
But you looked
that,
at that. Right, but you didn't book. That's very interesting because I mean I'm curious now, right? Because you booked that house based off the reviews, right? So that reviews made it seem like neighborhood was. So because again, I hear you, and a lot of my people do come in late at night, right? So I have a sensor monitor, and then also like if I know that they're coming in like 10 late, like I control the thermostat from my phone, right, to make sure like I'm not gonna run all day, but 3 hours or so I'll turn it on. So I don't know, that's very interesting. I never thought about it that way.
As a traveler, I travel a lot, so to me, I'm like if I'm coming in late, I'm gonna either go to a hotel because I just feel that way. Like, I want to see what your neighborhood look like in daytime. I want to just come at nighttime and, like, it can be popping. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's a kind of personal thing. I don't know.
Makes me think about the questions where I'm going at night. Like, oh, man. Like, I think I should think about that moving forward.
That's me.
That's pretty smart. I don't know. I'm 50. I don't know. I guess, it's your personality, right?
It is.
And, yeah. Okay.
Again, it's all about mitigating risk, right? And that's just one of the things I'm like, So if it would have been 8 o'clock, he would have had it, right? It's 10 o'clock. Okay. It's kind of just late. So I don't know. To that, you got rental properties as well, right?
I do. Yes.
Well, why did you decide to do Airbnb versus, I guess, long-term rental? What's the pros and cons, I guess, from that, and why you kind of moved down that path?
Because Airbnb is a full-time job. And I know, and at Airbnb, this year, 2023 was my first year being a full-time real estate agent. Okay. Right. So I did not want Airbnb to take away from being a full-time real estate agent. And so I just didn't want to express, it's one thing doing real estate and doing your other things, right? But like when you're really focusing on real estate and understanding like now I have no more safety net. Like my Airbnbs are for, buying properties, right? So that's what those are do. They pay for themselves and they buy us the next property.
Nice.
So now it was just, hey, I want to survive as a realtor. Like I want to sell real estate. Like I want to understand real estate to the point of getting up every single day and going to find your next client before you come home that night. So that's why I decided. And again, I wanted to also understand if I really wanted to do property management, right? Like, do I really want to carry this belt over here doing, because I could do it in my sleep, right? And it does run itself great, and I'm happy and blessed by the experience that I have for that. But it's still work, right? Like, no matter how you want to slice it and dice it, anything you're doing is still work, right? True. And if I want the return on it, like, do I neglect with my clients? Do I neglect with my houses? And just, like, what am I doing?
Okay, fair enough. So you had your path to real estate, like as far as a realtor perspective, was different than a lot of people I know. A lot of people I know get into real estate. They never own their own home. They never sold a property. They never bought a property. Mm-hmm. Some people are just fresh. Hey, I want to sell real estate. So based on your experience, it seems like you were prepared for like kind of to jump into real estate. Obviously, you got to do the state stuff and all that jazz. But once you got through that, it seemed like you were ready. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I was ready to sell houses. Like, right, like, hey, you went through school, and I was ready to, because the goal is to buy one property every year, right? The goal was also to say, hey, if these guys that I work with, right, no one in color that I know of was doing that, right? Or in our presence, right? Like, I can do it too, right? So it was, let's go buy a property, right? And again, I'm learning the game, right? Okay, you buy one, buy small, buy up, buy small, buy up, rinse and repeat, right? So it was more so of, I was making real estate work for me, right? Because again, like, you want to be able, people that's in real estate say like, oh, real estate is the way to wealth, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not using those tools, it's not just because you sell houses, right? Like, what else are you using real estate for? Are you buying the properties? Are you do you understand how to manage? Do you understand, hey, how does this property make you money? Are you understanding your occupancy, your vacancy? Like, that's how you're getting to the money. It's not just, oh, I gotta sell 200 homes this year to be like, oh, real estate is it. Like, no, there's a lot more. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot more. And I think that's what I was prepared for. I wanted to play the game. I wanted to have 5 properties by 35. I'm at 3 and I'm 36. Okay. But I started saying I want 5 properties at 32.
Gotta have a goal.
Right? So, and then again, but when you understand it, you're like, oh, it's, it means possible, but how possible is it when it's just you? Yeah. Right? And you learning and doing everything else. So I'm there.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously you go to own properties. I guess for somebody who want to be an investor like you, what some strategies or what's some 3 things they should look for in terms of acquiring properties? What is like maybe a type of properties they should look into, or maybe a type of community? What is some of those things that you're looking for?
So for me, the very first thing I would tell anybody that's really trying to be an investor, not just a homeowner, right? I'm gonna tell you to go for seller financing. Okay. Right? That's the number one that sells all day long, right? And people forget about it, right? Like, go to seller financing. There's so many other ways to hack a deal besides getting 20% down, right? Buying, moving up, right? But buying, moving up would be my second option, right? Buy small, move up, especially if your lifestyle, can afford it, right? As far as like me, I have no children, so it's just me, right? I don't have to worry about anyone else, but everybody may not do that. And then house hack, right? Like, that's also, but I'm going to go probably owner financing, buying up, and house hacking, because house hacking is not easy, right? And it depends on how you do it, right? Yeah. I mean, again, duplexes is not the only way, but you can live in one unit, rent the others out, right? So, I mean, it's just so much. You can do part-time rentals, right? You can move out like that. So I will look at those and whatever works best for you, right? It's not just what you can afford. It's more so, it's really, what could you survive for 1 year, right?
Very true.
Because you might want this property. You might have 150 and you got to go live, right, on Freedom Drive, right? You got to go live on Hidden Valley. I don't know, right? Yeah. Now they're not the same no more, but you got to go be in the trenches, right? Like, you got to live where you don't want to live, right? Sugar Creek Road. Like, you got to get that duplex that's on the corner that don't nobody want. And you got to do that because that's where your money goes.
Right.
But you ain't got to stay. That's not where you stay.
For sure.
So it's more so like, hey, just get started.
Get started. I like that.
Get started. Like, understand what you could play and play what you got. Right?
Yeah.
That's where a lot of us mess up at, right? Like, we like, oh, if we can't get what we want, then I don't want it at all.
It's all mindset.
So if you believe that at today, what are you doing to get out of that situation?
Probably nothing.
That's what bothers me about it, right? So now because that is like that, I take advantage of somebody else is thinking like that, but I'm not. Let me go ahead and move.
That's it.
I don't want to pay this HOA. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me get it. Let me get that. Can I get that?
That's how the game is won. That's really it, though.
Yeah, and that's just so. And I understood that, going through school, seeing it, and again, that's the corporate mindset from the mom and pop mindset, right? Because these guys bought, this background of people bought all around where did nobody want, and now they're all worth $700,000, right? They're worth Trade Street, Betty's Ford Road, and they're not paying a dime.
Very true.
And I was like, oh. That's doable? There's no TV show about that. Let me do it. What do you gotta do?
So you obviously you immerse yourself in real estate post schooling essentially. Did you come from a family of people who own homes, or you the first person in your family to own a home? Like, what's that situation?
No. So my aunt and her dad did real estate back in the day, but I was in New York, right? He owned blocks. He had most of our family. Then my aunt inherited that, but I had no idea about it, right? We didn't talk about those things. I knew about it. So, okay, I'm going to just shove the ball a little bit, right? So, okay, remember I said I was born in Cleveland, right? So, in Cleveland, Ohio, a little bit of my background is I ended up becoming a foster kid, right? So, doing the foster kid, going throughout the system, I got in trouble in school. And then my aunt from New York, right? She came, her and my cousin, they came in, I went there, and then we just transferred to live in New York.
Gotcha.
So now I'm like, upset child, teenager, right? Got all these other issues in my head, but, a athletic person. I never, like, stood in that story, right? Not even to this day, like, I don't stand in that story, but that is my story, right? So anyway, did high school, and this whole time my auntie owned the blocks. Didn't know no idea, right? Like, this whole time, like, she got real estate. Because we didn't talk about those things, right? We didn't talk about, I just was like, hey, you're going to go to school, you're going to stay out of trouble, right? You're going to play sports, and you're going to go to college. And that's that. So no, I wouldn't say I'm the first person, because they did have it, right? Is where we at. But I am now.
Yeah, I mean, I find that a lot of people who are younger, like, they got their houses at mid-30s or 28, 30-ish, they typically come from backgrounds of people who own real estate.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are waiting on the sidelines are people who didn't have owners in their family for whatever reason. That's just a commonality I seem to find, like, just having general discussions with people. I don't know it to be a fact, like, percentage-wise, but when I talk to people, I typically find that. So that's why I asked that.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what you would call that. Because, again, we didn't talk about it, right? And then when I got here into real estate, it was just, again, they encouraged me to go to real estate school. And I was just like, nah, I'm good, right? But, like, no one was having that talk of, do this, do that, do this, do that, yeah.
So based on, obviously, real estate is changing, Charlotte is growing like crazy. You've been here, you went to school. Where do you see yourself positioned in as far as Charlotte in the real estate market? You have I think a history mindset too of Charlotte, and that helps probably as an investor, but as a seller of real estate, how does that help you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it gives me a lot of opportunity, actually. I think that Charlotte's changing so much that it allows a lot of growth, from the ones that's here to the ones that's, coming here. I really want to focus on the ones that's here, though, right? Because it's the ones that's here that needs to buy the real estate, right? It's the ones that's not here that's coming and buying it. So, where does that position me? It positions me in the factor of, hey, how do I spend my money? Like, where am I buying that at? Like, where am I buying these homes at? I think we need to move outside of Charlotte, right? Charlotte's so expensive. And the return of your investment in Charlotte right now is going to take a little longer than if you go out to Salisbury, if you go out to Kings Mountain. So I think it's more so, who are those people that's looking to move on the outskirts of Charlotte, right? Who's the ones that wants to take advantage of the rural area at this time? Because eventually it's going to go, right? With Airbnb, would you think that there's Airbnbs in the rural area?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the rural area for Airbnb is told to increase at 12%, right, in 2024. But the city is only like at 8%. So, like, that's just crazy of, like, where the growth is going to. So I think it's more so of, like, finance wants to just, let's move outside of Charlotte, right? But again, for investors, for partnerships, I think is a great opportunity to be able to come together with the group of teams to be multifamily, right? So if someone wants to be an investor and have a group, I say let's do it, right? That's how us young ones can get together and be like, oh, okay, we own this building, right? I think that's where that money is. But like for myself and individuals, I think we gotta leave the Charlotte area.
Okay, I like that. I mean, I definitely.
Unless you want to wait. Unless you want to, again, you want to wait a little longer for your return to come back around.
Yeah, I mean that's all investments though. You want to what's your goal? Like once you get this property or this asset, what do you want to do with it? Or is you want to save it for forever? I typically tell people investments or housing in general. I say you have like a 7 to 10 year kind of window where just in general like standards change. So now before everybody had white cabinets and refrigerators. Now people want different it changes. Yeah. So because the style changes, you have a window where you have to before you need to do massive upgrades. So it's a small window in there, and I say like about 7 years or so before things start changing. Like you got like farmhouse sinks, like that was a thing, and then it's not a thing. Now it's coming back. So the styles change that people want in their house, and I think that kind of dictates where you need to be in the swing as far as an investor.
Yeah, I think ultimately I want an apartment building. Mm-hmm. I'm very unsure on the size. Okay. Right, my size keeps changing because again, it's property management is work, right? Like, so it keeps changing. So again, I'm playing the monopoly. I'm going to keep my little houses and cash them in, right, for that property that I want, that's going to be able to say, hey, I have no retirement fund, and I'm going to have some for my retirement fund, right? Like, this is literally my life. And I decided that when I said, hey, I'm walking away.
All in.
I'm all in, and this is just, so yes, I would like a multi-family. I would like a couple of houses just to, have a little cash in the bank as my retirement. And again, sit back and be on the yacht somewhere while these properties are running themselves, right? And if I decide to continue real estate and sell real estate all in, right, like that allows me to do what I want to do.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, real estate is you can use as a vehicle. Basically, you can use it any way you want to. It's lots of exit different strategies. It sounds like you're passionate about it, which is obviously important if you're going to be selling it. What would you say was do you have any, I guess, mentors, real estate mentors, or you just a part of different groups and things like that? What's your thing?
Yeah, I think I do have mentors that's in my life that's in the business, okay. Right? As far as like one realtor just for real estate, no. Okay. Right? I'm definitely involved in different groups. I'm definitely involved with listening to different coaches, different podcasts, like when it comes to it, because everyone has a different perspective on it. And I like to channel it, listen, and, but there's some ones that I can call to like get me together, like get me out, right? My funk. Yeah, so maybe, a variety of mentors.
I mean,
even the ones that's not even like, even my property management manager that, at that time, he's not into real estate at all, right? But he has a full knowledge of property management. He just doesn't have a license, right? I would consider him a mentor, right? Because I can call him and be like, hey, what do you think? How do I write this addendum, right? As far as like what we need to do. So I just have a lot of great people that was in my life that was involved in the business. And then working property management, I was able to connect with different owners, right? And be able to just, they have 10, 15, 30 homes, right? Where they just, these little old guys just chilling, right? So, yeah, I'm involved with a lot of people that's in the business.
Okay. Well, we're going to get ready to wrap this up. I wanted to ask, do you have any predictions? I know you said you had a house goal already. Do you have anything either sales related or investment related that you want to put out here so we can look back at this and say she did it?
That's great. Okay, so 2024, I am gonna build. Okay. Right. So we want us to look back and be like, oh, she did that. So I'm gonna put a ADU in my backyard. I am excited about doing that and deciding, what that is going to be about. So we're gonna look back on this. Let's give us 10 months from now. Okay. We come back and be like, hey, what's up with this ADU? Of course, I'm still selling real estate, so I would love to pick up anybody as a client. That actually, Tony's not, telling me, and then, hey, let's refer to Tony, or Tony, back versa. Because I do want to increase my sales. Oh, yeah. Right? I want to do that. Again, this is all I got. Real estate all day. Yeah, I mean, I look forward to just growing, right? I'm excited about 2024. It's the year.
Well, so you brought up ADU. Just for y'all to know, they're the accessory dwelling units. They've passed some legislation in Charlotte for us to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. So it allows homeowners to maximize their profits, whether that's she'll rent it or Airbnb. Do you have a plan for it once it's finished, or is it going to be for you? What's the plan? Okay,
so again, right? The goal is to buy one every year. So this year, this will be my another one, right? I'm torn. I am torn. I want to live in it, because I'm putting it all into it. Like, I want to live in it, right? I really do. But it would be smarter for me to live in it now, because the goal is, hey, let me move into it, right? And then I just rent my full-time house out, right? Full-time, now it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? And then it's like, oh, well, let me just stay here, and I just put this so nice that it'll cover both. So, I think once I really get into it, and really decide what am I really doing with it, right? Right now we're just in the blueprint stages.
No pressure. I was just wondering if you knew.
Okay, so now that you know, what would you do? What was your, I don't know, right? What you thinking? Give me some opinions.
I think knowing you, I would say you're probably going to live in it for a little bit. That's what I think. You'll probably eventually I think you'll test the waters with Airbnb to see how it goes because it's different, it's unique. So I think that makes it attractive to people who are coming to Charlotte. It's something different for them. And then eventually, obviously, you'll go into the next property, so you'll rent it out probably long term. If Airbnb doesn't go the way you want to go, but you got I mean, you can do once you own it, so you can do whatever you want. But I think you'll probably live in it for a little bit.
Yeah, and then I just have the thought, like, do I really want to be on the property when the guest is there? And then I'm be mad because then I'm like, oh, maybe I could rent this out while I leave, because I don't really want to be there.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I'm excited though. It's gonna, and then maybe I'll just put a renter, into it. It's just so many options.
And that's the thing about real estate. You always have options. So congratulations, first of all, you're going to take that step. Obviously, building is cool. I have a long-term goal of being a developer, so I'm going to be watching your project for sure.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you some time to ask me any questions if you have any questions of me, anything.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about your Airbnbs, right? So how many you got?
I only have one Airbnb right now.
Okay.
It's actually it's a smaller Airbnb, so like I said, I typically get couples. So I did that because I wanted to. I didn't know how the market was gonna go, and it's actually been really profitable for me. So I kind of kept that strategy. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing it actually since 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018. So I've been doing it since 2018. It's been steady. It's been months where I literally had 30, 31 days booked, which has been pretty cool. Whether it's nurses here because they're traveling or the people like different events. Once you got the boy was here, it was crazy, of course. Right. So like I said, it was always been a good thing for me. So
okay. Now, are you a Superhost on Airbnb?
I sure am. Got it again on January 1.
Yay. Okay. So what's your horror story of Airbnb? What's one of yours?
Horror story. I got two. The first one was not really that bad, but somebody broke my ceiling fan. I don't know how you break a ceiling fan. I just came. I'm like, something is wrong. And then I messaged him, and he was like, he got real quiet. So of course, I just bought one, and they paid me for the route, which is cool. So again, that's the cool thing about Airbnb. Have their built-in insurance. If the person admits to it, for sure they'll get it. You pay for it, no big deal. Okay. The other one was a little different, and it was a couple. They kind of got into it. Seems like somebody was in somebody's phone. Next thing I know, the cops are at the spot, and they like, yo, is everything okay? I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, so I have to go to the spot. The cops are there.
The police called you?
So one of the guests called the police. The parent called the police on the other the other person, if that makes sense. So they're at my house, and they was like, oh yeah, we just renting it. And it was like, what do you mean just renting it? So long story short, they had another day and they stayed in the house. They left like immediately after the police. Okay. They got their stuff and they left. But they had a fight pretty much either in the house or in front of the house. Is the story. But yeah, so it's a whole DV situation at my house, which is crazy, and has nothing to do with me. So it was scary from that perspective. I'm like, wait, what was y'all even doing to the fact that like the cops are coming to the house? So I got a call from the cops that something was happening at my house, which is weird.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's probably my worst story.
Okay.
Other than that, everybody's pretty much been calm. Nothing really broken or anything like that. People are nice, respectful. But yeah, like I said, as long as you communicate, I think it goes by pretty well. Like most people are there to just check out the city. Okay. So as long as you have recommendations for them, it goes well. But like I said, definitely had somebody broke a fan, and I had a DV situation. Okay. Which is weird.
Yeah. And then I do have a question. That you said you change out your keys at your Airbnb. Mm-hmm. I use a smart lock. Mm-hmm. So why did you choose to just use a regular key, and how often do you change it out?
So I this is a yearly thing essentially. So we were on at time. It was like, do I want to wait to begin the year, do everything, or do it end of the year? And it was like, oh, there's no bookings, cool. Like I had somebody for Christmas. I was like, okay, I got time. So I was gonna start churning. I swap out the bed. Got a new bed, and I had some more furniture to the bathroom. So it literally was just rearranging everything. As far as the key specifically, I never got a smart lock because two things. I didn't want to have to worry about the batteries because I've seen other Airbnb hosts like, oh, the battery broke and now I have to be, and like I said, I move crazy as far as timing perspective. So I didn't want that to happen, or somebody coming from the club and now I got to get up, be at 3, 4 in the morning, come let somebody in or figure it out. So that was my main issue. Okay. And I seen you had a cool strategy for that actually on Instagram the other day. But that was my main thing, because I was scared that I would have to come and fix the lock in the middle of the night.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, in her strategy, by the way, she has an extra key, basically, for both, so you can use smart lock or the key. Mm-hmm. So no. So the key is just if, I'm not trying to give a guest a key.
Because again, like we don't know, right? And then what happens if they lose it? Because I'm concerned if they lose it, you still gotta go at 3:00 in the morning.
True. Hasn't happened yet, thank God.
Ooh, yes, because it happened. Yeah. So the lock is they use I like the Yale lock because it works with Airbnb. It generates the code. It lets it set in and set out, right? So I'm good to go. Like if I'm on a flight, it gets booked. Like anything that happens, like it's self managed. The key is there for in case if something happened, like of course my cleaner is gonna be able to tell me we're coming in so much that we'll know if the lock needs to be changed battery, and then it tells me on my phone,
Gotcha.
like change battery
Like
too.
that. Yeah.
So, but if something happens, because you have those crazy moments, the what if, like, or something, there's a key there. That way, and again, if they lose that key, then we have, we're safe to charge them that $250 for the lock.
Gotta have the fees in there. Gotta have the fees in there.
You gotta have those fees. So, so we use and I was just curious because the new Airbnbs that I'm setting up is, we had that conversation of, let me just I want to use a key, right? And that's fine, but are you going to change it, And the cleaner's it's not responsible for changing that. You can use a smart lock key and change it, but, why won't you just use your... And then I think it's also a liability issue, right? True. Because if somebody does come in or something happened, right, it's just a matter of, who had the code. Now you can see who, because this code, just different things. I was curious.
I bought the key too, so now I think about the DV situation too. One of them threw the key. So the cops actually were with a flashlight trying to find the key. So like say it was a whole ordeal. Like even when I came back
now, you gonna get the lockbox out there?
Yeah. When I came back, it was they had like Ajax all over the bathroom. Like I don't know, it was like I said, I have no clue what happened. It was a wild situation, like in general, like from the start. From the cops to the Ajax to like they had to find the key. I mean, it was just a lot going on. And like I said, somebody's mom called the cops. I don't know which one, but somebody's mom called the cops. And I'm like, do they live in Charlotte? Like I was trying to go back in history. Like, what did I do? What did I do for this to happen to me? So it was an interesting debacle for sure. So another part of the key. So you ain't got to worry about that with smart lock because you don't have keys. But yeah, they threw the key. Oh my goodness. So cops are literally with a flashlight because it's nighttime, of course, and they're looking for the key. So they found it and they told them, okay, they asked me, did I want them to stay? I was like, no, they got to go. So they was okay, cool. And they pretty much just left that night, even though they had an extra day to stay. I don't know where they went, but. Now,
did you register your Airbnb with the city of Charlotte? Mm-hmm. Good job, right?
Got to.
Because, well, I guarantee you. I posted it one time. This one person reached out to me and was like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you do that? And it's just, I think you should, because situations like that, right? I was registered and the situation happened and the guest was like, oh, they thought they were hearing things, right? And so they felt they were two women, right? And just wanted to be safe. And so when they went out there, he looked me up and he was like, hey, I just wanted to, can you pull up cameras? Anything happen? And then we just talked, and he was like, thank you that you're registered. Yeah. And I was like, well, thank you. Easy. Yeah, it just makes it easy for them to contact you. So, yeah.
Safety for the host.
Safety for the host. Protect yourself.
Cool.
All right.
Anything else?
Oh, I could go all day. I got like tons of questions, but this is your show.
All right, folks. This is another episode of the Uninvited House Guest. Hopefully you learned some things about Airbnb, about property management, about real estate. Again, we're hopeful to just bring some information to you so that you can use it as you go down your journey of pursuing real estate. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're going to give you true information. It's a couple highlights. We'll probably do a second kind of smaller segment about some stuff that happened in the news recently. Airbnb is trending again, so we definitely wanted to talk about that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.